friends, and welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I'm Midge Munster.
And last week, Midge, we talked a little bit about a little movie that you and I made. I wanted to talk about another movie today, a little bit of a bigger one, but one that also had many of its own trials and tribulations and wacky adventures. We are going to talk about the big one, the biggest fish out there. It's Jaws.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes. So for anyone, I feel a little bit weird talking about Jaws like in October since it's such a summer movie. But it is the 50th anniversary this year, so I didn't want to wait until next summer. And I did have some Jaws prep that I was doing to get ready.
For Jaws prep.
I had to do a lot of Jaws prep. So I do want to start this episode by just shouting out our unpaid research assistant, my dear friend Caitlin, who ever since I did way back episode 95 was about sharks. And obviously we briefly mentioned Jaws in that, but it was like, Jaws is definitely its whole own thing. And she's been like, when are you going to talk about Jaws? And I was worried that I didn't have like the Jaws chops. You know, Jaws chops. How many mouth
really
references can I?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But sink your teeth into Jaws.
Yes, I'm right. But now I have sunk my teeth in. Caitlin and I watched all of the Jaws movies this summer,
Wow.
culminating in seeing the original on the big screen, the 50th anniversary remaster. So I do feel more prepared. I got some of her favorite Jaws facts, and I also did watch the Jaws at 50 documentary that came out this year, which was really fun. So, what is your first Jaws experience, Midge?
Weirdly, okay, I had seen clips of Jaws my whole life, obviously. But actually the first time I sat and watched the whole movie through was just 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I saw it on the big screen. Liberty Hall in Lawrence did like a big Jaws screening in the summer, and it was so fun. I got a bunch of my like girlfriends together, who are all like spooky horror gals, and we all went and saw it, and I made everybody like Jaws like care packages. So it had like gummy sharks and keychains and like little shark pencil. Like I made little like treat bags for everybody.
I love it.
And we all wore like our Jaws attire, and it was super cute, and we had a really good time. And I was really pleasantly surprised because honestly, I had never had any interest in seeing Jaws.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, a shark movie,
Right.
but. Wow, it like holds up filmation wise.
It seriously does.
Pretty
like
insane, yeah.
It's legitimately a really good movie, and I feel like
is Caitlin like a Jaws head? I'm assuming.
Yes, she is.
So I had the privilege of also having like a Jaws head in my group,
yes.
That gave me a lot of the like lore before we saw the movie, and so I was able to appreciate it like even further. I think just based on understanding what it took to make the film.
Yes, that's perfect. It is definitely. I do highly recommend having your own Jaws head to bring you into the world. My first time seeing Jaws, I have a very clear memory. So this doesn't really count as seeing it, but we would go over to like my second cousin's house to like watch like the Packers game and stuff, because we live in Wisconsin.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. And I very clearly remember like after the game was over, like Jaws was on TV, and I was like kind of concerned about this. I was like in late elementary or middle school. So, in peak, like I'm scared of stuff
Sure, yeah.
zone. But we were sitting on the floor reading the Guinness Book of World Records, which I feel like this is a side note. I feel like it explained, as I was writing this, I was like, oh, this kind of explains a lot about me, that my family, I would buy the Guinness Book of World Records like at the book fair every year and just read it.
I was having this when y'all listen to next week's episode. I was having this same like realization with Ripley's Believe It or Not when I was writing for this week, where I was like, man, that just the late 90s, early 2000s were a really specific time period.
They really were. But I remember like vaguely being aware of Jaws in the background, but obviously I was like locked in on my Great World Record book.
Your autistic hyperfixation,
yes.
Sure.
But I remember like looking up at the end and seeing the shark explode and was just like, what is this? Like, what is going on?
Wow, Penny, spoiler alert on this 50-year-old
film.
I
know, spoiler alert on Jaws, you guys. There's going to be Jaws spoilers in this episode. But let's go back. Let's go back into the 70s. Because as briefly mentioned in the original Shark episode, Jaws was originally a novel of the same name by a writer named Peter Benchley. So he, at the time, was like doing a lot of freelance writing and kind of like trying to make it as a novelist. And his agent would set up meetings for him to, talk to publishers. And apparently this made me laugh because the two things that he would suggest, one is for you, Midge. It's a nonfiction book about pirates.
Hell yeah.
And the other one was a novel about a man-eating shark. And eventually a publisher was like, we'll take that shark book. And Jaws was born. And because this was the 70s, before the book was even released, some Universal executives got like a preview copy, read it, and were like, this is a banger, buy the rights to this, let's make a Jaws movie. And they have said, like, at that point, they weren't really thinking about, like, actually making the movie. And
like the logistics
of it, which was
it seems to be a pattern where sometimes you think, I'm going to make a movie, and you don't really think about how it's going to get made.
Truly.
Yeah. Who would do that?
See, well, I was going to say, Midge, Universal executives do that, so you're in fine company.
I don't feel so bad.
And this... there had never been a major motion picture shot on the ocean before. So put a pin in that.
Wow. Yeah.
So these guys were like, sweet, we're going to make Jaws. We hired a director, but he just wasn't really working out. They had kind of like not aligned visions for what they wanted Jaws to be. And wouldn't you know it, this 26-year-old whippersnapper who had just directed his very first feature film, which hadn't even been released yet, was like, guys, I really want to direct Jaws. And that man, Steven Spielberg.
Who? No.
What? Who's that?
Never heard of him.
And I feel like it's really interesting to like look at how troubled of a production this was, because I feel like a lot of time that really like it shows through in the final product, where you're like, yes, they had a hard time with this one. But like Jaws is such a classic. It was wild to find out, apparently while it was filming, the crew were calling it flaws. Which is very clever.
That's funny.
But it was like an incredibly complicated production that was just really happening in like a very slapdash kind of way. So
I'm also just picturing, like, again, not to keep bringing it back to this, but like having just done this,
yes,
I'm picturing like getting out in the middle of the ocean on the boat and being like, oh, we don't have the SD card, or like,
right?
I mean, obviously this wasn't an SD card.
Yeah,
70s,
but
like...
that kind of vibe, right?
Yeah.
Because I think, and we will talk about it, like the most famous struggle were issues with the shark itself. Mm-hmm. But they also basically rewrote the entire script while they were doing the principal photography. So I have not personally read the book Jaws, and our local Jaws head, Caitlin, says it's not really worth it unless you're like a big Jaws fan and want to like see like the roots of it. But from my understanding, like they dropped a bunch of subplots. There was a whole mafia subplot in the book, which was like part of like the mayor was like especially interested in making like the summer season happen because he like owed the mob money and stuff.
Sure.
Also, Hooper has an affair with Brody's wife in the book.
Oh my.
Yeah, and they really just kind of reformulated all the characters, and Spielberg brought in a friend named Carl Gottlieb, who was primarily like a comedic writer, and was like, hey, can you spend a week polishing up the dialogue in this script? Also, would you like a part? And so he is the guy who is playing the head of the newspaper, who like shows up and is like, get a picture of this shark. And instead of a dialogue polish...
That's his exact line.
that is his line. He ends up being credited as the lead screenwriter on this project because pretty much during filming, he is continually like rewriting the script. So the filming takes place in Martha's Vineyard. And something that is just like so cute and I think really adds to the vibe is apart from the lead characters, almost all of like the extras and minor characters are played by actual people from the island. And I feel like, I don't know, Midge, do you miss movies that just have like normal people?
Normal looking people. Oh, I talk about this all the time.
Yes.
Was it you and I were just talking about this?
Yeah, I think we were.
I went to see Rocky Horror on the big screen, which I'd never seen it on a big screen before.
So good.
And that was
another
emotional.
50th anniversary movie this year.
Another great documentary that I'm dying to see.
Yes.
But I left that movie thinking like, wow, that movie's so great because all the actors look like humans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for many reasons, but just like seeing Tim Curry's face on a giant screen, I was like, wow, he looks like a human person.
Right? Like that's a real person.
And he's like beautiful. And yes,
Yeah.
so yes, that's is something that really miffs me now when we get movies like Fear Street Prom Queen.
Right.
And everybody has Instagram faces. I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. One shout out I had to give Lee Fierro, who plays Alex Kittner, the kid who gets eaten by a shark. His mom, who like comes and like slaps Chief Brody and stuff, was actually the local theater teacher.
Oh, nice.
Which is so cute. And it sounds like it was like a really obviously exciting time for the community, although they also, saw a lot of the filming struggles. I did read an amazing article from the Vineyard Gazette, 1974, which was titled, For Jaws, Some Progress. For the 400, an ice water romp. That was just like bitching about how miserable it was to film the beach attack scene because it was actually really cold.
Oh, sure.
And the water was super cold. And before I even knew that we were going to talk about the behind the scenes for the special last week, I was like, when Midge and I did a much smaller production, we learned when you film something, you do it over and over again.
And over and over and over and over.
So there, are 400 people who are like huddling on the beach, like wrapped up, and then have to drop it and get in the water in their swimsuits and then run back out of the water for like an entire day of shooting. And if you watch really closely in the background of that scene, you can see like some people shivering because it was cold and shitty. And the article actually ends by being like, there are rumors that Jaws is sinking, but it's on its way now. It's going great.
It's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
Look over there.
So, as we mentioned, it was not totally fine. This was supposed to be a 55-day shoot. That ended up ballooning to 159 days just of principal photography. And went $5 million over budget in 1970 money.
There you go. If my dad is listening, we were just talking about this. He was like, I wonder how often films go over budget and over time. And I was like, I bet all the freaking time.
A lot of them do. Yep. And a big part of this is because shooting on the ocean is hard and it sucks. And
who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
You mean that giant, unpredictable mass of water?
Right. And Spielberg talks about this a lot in interviews, that he was just like, I was just really determined to shoot it on the ocean. Like, we could have done it in a tank. We could have done it, like, in a lake. But I wanted it to, like, be legit. And there's a reason that the sea is known to be a merciless bitch. She's causing problems. There was obviously weather problems. Like it was, it sounds like it was kind of like unseasonably cold and like stormy for a lot of that year. At one point, the Orca just started sinking when it was not supposed to with the cast on it. And it sounds like everyone was kind of like sunburned and miserable for most of it.
For months. Yeah.
Months. And of course, famously, there were major tensions on set between Robert Shaw, who plays Quint, and Richard Dreyfuss, who plays Hooper. And I'm not going to get too deep into this because I feel like it's kind of a weird situation just because Robert Shaw passed away like so quickly after Jaws, which means Richard Dreyfuss really has been the one who has like shaped the narrative about like what was happening between them, and he's not a good person, so I don't think that I trust him. So Shaw's son Ian actually co-created a play about the filming of Jaws called The Shark is Broken, in which he plays his dad. He looks so much like him. Like if you look at the stills from this where he's like dressed up as his dad, he looks exactly like him. And do you know who played Richard Dreyfuss in this production? A Ghouls Night In fave?
Charles Dickens. Okay.
An actual fave.
Who?
It's Alex Brightman.
Oh, he is a fave.
Yes, I'm going to say a legitimate fave.
Oh my god, he does look
right?
like his dad.
He looks so much like his dad. Just the fact that there is a play about the interpersonal tensions and struggles on the set, I think tells you that it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
And as promised, we have to talk about the shark. So, famously, the shark was nicknamed Bruce. Do you know who the shark was named for, Midge?
I don't think.
So he was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. So it is a lawyer shark joke. And now Bruce has become like kind of synonymous with sharks.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bruce in Finding Nemo is a reference to Bruce the animatronic shark from Jaws. And they talk about this a lot in the documentary. So if you are interested, I definitely recommend watching that. But basically, like they got really great people, you know, who were animatronic experts, but they wanted the shark made faster. And then when they put it in the ocean, the like neoprene skin on it started absorbing all the water, as you know, fabric tends to do. And it just caused a bunch of other struggles. But in the end, it really kind of saved the movie, it sounds like. So, like, in the very opening scene, you know, where the girl, like, disappears, you were supposed to actually see the shark, like, just taking a big chomp out of her, which I feel would totally ruin the vibe.
I was gonna say, is what makes that scene so scary is that
exactly.
You don't see it.
Yeah. So they talk about that. Spielberg has like a quote where he's like, "Oh, like it really turned this into like kind of a Hitchcock vibe because it was supposed to be more of like a schlocky creature feature, but it had this suspense because we couldn't show the shark because the shark was not working."
Had a real Chekhov's gun situation.
Yes, exactly. And he also gives credit to the fact that the film ran over so long that they were able to make the script better that whole time. And there was a lot of the actors kind of contributing to the script and like helping rewrite and like building off of some of, you know, just like improv between them. And
sometimes you really do fail up.
You do. You truly do. I'm going to say, everyone can fail up, including Steven Spielberg and Jaws. And obviously, Jaws is so enormously culturally relevant, even today. We started the episode, John Williams' theme is one of the most iconic movie themes. It's 2 notes, and you're like, yep, I know what's happening right now. And like pretty much everything, someone always makes a "you're gonna need a bigger boat" reference.
Yep.
And we're right back here for Jaws. And this is mostly a behind the scenes of Jaws. I feel like Jaws has a lot of like themes that you can analyze. There are a lot of different interpretations. Personally, I really think it's an interesting like exploration of masculinity, and
For sure.
you have like, you know, kind of different types of masculine energy like kind of at war in this movie, and you're like, what's the answer gonna be? And it really transformed movies and the movie industry. Jaws is known to be the first summer blockbuster, because summer was always just like a place that you dumped movies,
Right.
that you weren't going to do, because you're like, oh, well, people are, you know, out and about and doing stuff. They don't want to go see movies. But Jaws was a huge smash hit. It was also apparently at that time like a movie that you thought was good, you wouldn't give a wide release to at first. Like, it was kind of, at least my interpretation is that it was kind of seen as like you'd release it all at once just to kind of like cash grab before like people knew whether it was a good movie or not.
Sure.
Which, fair, but like obviously this is no longer the case. Like, any like big movie is gonna get a full wide release. And it's just a movie that, like we said, still really holds up. The rest of, so as someone who now has watched all of Jaws, including the unofficial Jaws 5, aka Cruel Jaws, which is just made up of like a bunch of stolen footage with really bad acting in between. So I do, it is very entertaining to watch if you are like a Jaws fan. It's incredibly bad. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But I feel like watching...
And I made Penny watch 13 Ghosts.
It is, girl, 13 Ghosts is like Oscar winning compared to Cruel Jaws. But I feel like when you watch like even like other movies in the Jaws franchise, other shark movies, they just like pale in comparison to the original, and you just see like the seams of where people are like trying to kind of capture some of that energy, and they just can't do it. And maybe you just have to have a big crazy flaws movie in order to make a classic sometimes, because Jaws has its own magic, and that's why people still love it 50 years later.
It's like I said, I was really shocked how blown away I was by it. That was not the impression I expected to walk away with, and I was like, damn, that was a really good movie. I guess there's a reason people like it.
Right. And like it is true. Like, I think that because they, you know, spent more time with it, because they weren't able to do maybe all of the shark things they wanted, it really focuses a lot on the characters, and there are like really interesting, like good acting, good dynamics between the characters. And it's also like simple. Like, I feel like I always love a movie that isn't like, we gotta explain this. They're just like, you guys, big shark.
It's a shark.
Big shark. We got a problem. We got to deal with this big shark.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I made that comment to one of my friends when we went and saw it, and hearing you say that they made it into like I mean, obviously it's a theatrical piece about the making of it, but I think the acting in that movie is very theatrical.
For sure.
Like, it plays like a play in a positive way, where like it's very dynamic and intense, and feels very like, I love a good just kind of slice of life of like, this happened from this day to this day, and this is how it went down, which I know is technically what all movies are, but it's different. I know you know what I mean.
It is. I do know what you mean. It is like, and a lot of it, especially like the scenes when they're, you know, like on the boat and stuff, it's very intimate in the way that theater is, I think. Yeah. And that is very much to the benefit of the movie. One thing that I wasn't able to fit in, but I do want to mention, is that they had so separate from their regular photography, they also had filming where they were, you know, doing the underwater stuff and like shark things. And there was all sorts of wacky stuff where they were like, oh, so we built a tiny shark cage with a short person in it so that the shark looked really big.
Oh my gosh.
And like the whole Hooper was supposed to die at the end and get munched by the shark, but they got a really good shot of the shark biting the cage when there was nobody in it. So they were like, maybe he got out of the cage and he
They're like, "Oh,
survived
he
because we want to use
escaped.
this
Yay,
shot in the
yay
movie.
That's awesome.
So yeah, like you said, it was very, very much a failing up where they were like, well, I really love this good shark footage, so maybe this guy gets to live.
That's awesome.
Yes. So if anyone out there has not seen Jaws, I highly recommend watching it, even if you do not think of yourself as like a shark movie person, because it really is like, it's fun, but it has that little sprinkle of like a film vibe on it. Yeah. So it's definitely a good watch. And I really enjoyed the 50-year documentary. Was super fun. It has like some people from the island like talking about what it was like. You know, it sounds kind of like it was, as we said in our last episode, they were like, oh, it's kind of like a summer camp. We were all like having wacky adventures every day.
It was kind of like 6 months of summer camp.
Yes. you know how summer camp keeps going, and they make you run into the ice cold water a dozen times.
Yeah. Woo. That's crazy.
So crazy. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope for any other Jaws heads out there, I hope I did a good job of representing the great film, the one and only Jaws. I didn't even get to talk about the Jaws ride at various places. Maybe that will be a follow-up Jaws in, kind of the world. Oh, the one thing I do have to, now I have like one more thing. One more thing over and over again. But they took the actual orca and put it at the Jaws ride at Universal. And apparently Steven Spielberg used to just go and lie down in the boat when he was feeling stressed out. And he was like, I would just go and I would just lie in the boat and just kind of feel my feelings. And I was like, relatable, Steven. And then there's a really cute video where he's doing an interview and he's like, yeah, and then one day I went there and the boat was gone. And I feel like they should put the boat back. I think the people would really like to see the orca. And I'm like, oh, do the people want to see the orca, Steven?
Really?
Or does Steven want to lie down in the orca and be stressed?
Joke's on us, they moved it to his property.
Oh, right. That'd be so good. It's like, this is my stress boat where I lie down.
Stress boat.
Well, let us know what you think about Jaws. If you have a fun memory of watching bits of it on TV or, after a football game, or if you saw it in theaters this year, let us know. Otherwise, if you want to chat about this or anything that's spooky, you can hang out with all of the ghouls on the Ghouls Night In Discord. We have a fun time over there, and if you want to follow along with the pod, you can find us at Ghouls Night In Pod on Instagram, which is also a place that you could send us a review, because I believe we are out of Fresh Hot Apple reviews.
I think you're correct, but yeah, we are right now.
It's tragic. Tragic. So leave us a review. Let us know what you think wherever you listen. We love to hear it. And if you are looking for myself, you can find me at Penny Snark.
And you can find me all over the web at Midge Munster.
And until next time, goodbye.